What if I told you that the difference between success and failure isn't talent, luck, or intelligence, but the way you train your mind? Most people believe success is something that happens to you, something reserved for the lucky or the gifted. But the truth is, success is something you design. It's something you create by shifting the way you think, act, and approach challenges. I want you to imagine this. Two people start at the same place in life. One person struggles for years, barely getting by. The other rises to success, builds wealth, and lives with purpose. What's the difference? It's not background, resources, or external circumstances. It's the way they think and respond to opportunities. You see, your mind is your most powerful tool. It can either be your greatest asset or your biggest obstacle. If you don't take control of your thoughts, habits, and actions, life will control them for you. Today, I'm going to show you how to reprogram your mind for success. You'll learn how to defeat procrastination, destroy limiting beliefs, and build habits that push you toward your goals. You'll understand why some people achieve greatness while others stay stuck. Most importantly, you'll discover how to take control of your future, starting today. Success is not about hoping or wishing, it's about choosing. And today, you're going to make that choice. Are you ready? If you are, let's dive in. Number 1, the power of change. Your past does not define your future. No matter where you are in life right now, no matter how many mistakes you've made, no matter how stuck you feel, you have the power to change everything. The only thing stopping you from achieving success is the belief that you are trapped by your past decisions, circumstances, or limitations. But here's the truth. You are not a tree. Think about it. If a tree grows in poor soil, it has no choice but to stay there, struggling to survive. It can't move, relocate, or change its environment. But as a human being, you have something extraordinary. The ability to move, to learn, to adapt, and to grow. Unlike a tree, you can choose a different direction at any moment. You are not stuck unless you decide to be. This is where most people fail. They assume that their past failures dictate their future results. They say things like, "I've always been bad with money," or "I've never been able to stay consistent," or "I'm just not the type of person who succeeds." These beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. The mind accepts them as truth, and suddenly, they become reality. But what if you change the narrative? What if you decided right now that your past does not equal your future? The most successful people in the world were not born into success. Many of them started with nothing, faced failure after failure, but refused to let their past dictate their future. They reprogrammed their minds, adopted a different philosophy, and took new actions. And because of that, they achieved greatness. 5 years from now, you will arrive somewhere. The question is, where? If you keep thinking the way you think today, acting the way you act today, and believing the same limiting thoughts, you'll end up exactly where you are, or worse. But if you make a small shift in your mindset, your habits, and your direction, your entire future will change. Success is not about being lucky. It's about choosing a new direction. If you don't like where you are, then change it. Don't let your past failures, doubts, or fears hold you back. You are not a tree. You have the power to move, to grow, and to become the person you were meant to be. So ask yourself right now, what is one belief that has been holding me back? Write it down. Then replace it with a new belief, one that empowers you. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer defined by your past. You are defined by the future you decide to create. Number 2, the 5-year rule. 5 years from now, you will arrive somewhere. The question is, where? Will you be living the life of your dreams, filled with success, fulfillment, and growth? Or will you find yourself in the same place, frustrated, stuck, and wondering where the time went? The answer depends entirely on one thing: whether you design your destination or leave it to chance. Success does not happen randomly. No one wakes up one day, having stumbled into greatness by accident. Every successful person, from great entrepreneurs to world-class athletes, designed their future before they arrived there. One of the greatest examples of this is Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi, Oprah had every reason to believe that she was destined for a life of struggle. Her early years were filled with hardship, abuse, and obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. But at a young age, she made a choice. She refused to accept an undesigned future. She envisioned herself as a powerful, influential woman, long before the world saw her that way. She set goals, worked tirelessly, and took every opportunity to develop her skills. Today, she is one of the most successful and influential women in the world, not because she got lucky, but because she designed her destination and walked toward it every day. Now think about your own life. If you continue on the exact same path you're on right now, keeping the same habits, maintaining the same mindset, and avoiding the same risks, where will you be in 5 years? Be honest with yourself. Is that where you want to be? If not, then it's time to change direction. Most people don't realize this, but the difference between a life of greatness and a life of regret is a simple matter of planning. Imagine two ships leaving a harbor at the same time. One has a captain with a clear destination, a map, and a course. The other just drifts, hoping it will reach a nice place. Which ship do you think will arrive where it wants to go? It's obvious, the one with a plan. Yet most people live their lives like the second ship. They drift through life, hoping that one day they'll wake up rich, happy, or successful. But hope is not a strategy. Direction determines destination. The good news is that you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Small, intentional changes today will lead to a completely different future. The secret is to create a 5-year vision plan, a blueprint for the life you want to live. Start by defining exactly what you want your life to look like 5 years from now. Be specific. Don't just say, I want to be successful. Define what success looks like for you. Your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, your personal growth. Once you have that vision, work backward. If you want to be financially independent in 5 years, what does that mean per year, per month, per week? Break it down into small, achievable steps so you can measure progress. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week, but underestimate what they can do in 5 years. If you start making small, disciplined decisions today, your life will be unrecognizable in 5 years. Change your daily habits. The biggest mistake people make is thinking success is about big, dramatic changes. It's not. It's about small, consistent improvements over time. Start waking up earlier. Read daily. Network with people who inspire you. Success is built in the small daily moments, not in one big breakthrough. But just as important as adding good habits is removing the bad ones. Anything that doesn't push you toward your goal is a distraction. If you spend hours every day on social media watching TV or engaging in negativity, you're drifting. Cut out the noise and focus on what truly matters. Successful people don't waste time. They invest it. If something isn't helping you grow, let it go. Oprah didn't become one of the most influential women in history by chance. She saw her future before she arrived there. The same goes for every successful person. Your 5 years will pass, whether you plan them or not. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is intentionality. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes and imagine your life in 5 years. If you start taking action today, what do you see? Where are you? How does it feel? That vision can be your reality, but only if you start designing your destination today. The choice is yours. Are you going to drift, or are you going to design? Number 3, the small shifts that lead to big success. Success isn't about massive overnight changes. It's about the small, consistent shifts you make in your thinking and habits that over time transform your entire life. Most people believe that success requires a dramatic, life-altering event, a sudden breakthrough, a stroke of luck, or an extraordinary talent. But in reality, the greatest successes are built on tiny, deliberate changes that compound over time. A 1-degree shift in direction may seem insignificant today, but over months and years it leads to a completely different destination. No one understood this better than Thomas Edison. Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, didn't wake up one morning with a brilliant idea that worked on the first try. He made over 10,000 failed attempts before perfecting his invention. Most people would have quit after a few failures, assuming that success wasn't meant for them. But Edison saw each failure as a small step forward, a lesson learned, and an adjustment made. His success wasn't built on a single moment of genius. It was built on small, persistent improvements. He once said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." This principle applies to everything in life: your career, health, relationships, and finances. If you're stuck right now, if you feel like success is out of reach, the problem isn't a lack of talent or opportunity. The problem is direction. You don't need a complete overhaul. You just need to make small, intentional changes that push you closer to your goal. If you improve by just 1% every day, in 1 year, you won't just be 365% better, you'll be exponentially better, because small improvements compound. Consider an airplane taking off from Los Angeles, heading toward New York. If the pilot adjusts the nose of the plane by just a few degrees, the aircraft won't land in New York. It will end up in Washington, D.C., or even further off course. The same applies to your life. If you shift just slightly in the right direction today, it may not feel like much, but over time, it leads to a completely different and better outcome. Think about how small habits shape your life. Reading 10 pages of a book every day might seem trivial, but in a year you'll have read 12 books. Spending 30 minutes a day practicing a skill might not make you a master overnight, but in 5 years you'll be among the best in your field. On the flip side, negative habits also compound. A small daily indulgence in junk food won't make you unhealthy overnight, but in a few years, it can lead to major health problems. Spending an extra hour a day scrolling through social media may not seem like a big deal now, but in 5 years, that's over 1,800 wasted hours, the equivalent of 75 full days. The key to success isn't about making giant leaps. It's about shifting your habits and mindset, little by little, consistently and intentionally. The problem is, most people look for shortcuts. They want instant results. And when they don't see immediate success, they give up. But the truth is, the most powerful changes happen gradually. You don't notice the results right away, but they build over time, just like compound interest. Look at Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world. His wealth didn't come from making a few lucky investments. It came from small, smart decisions made consistently over decades. He understood the power of compounding, both in money and in personal growth. He once said, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." This means that every habit you form, whether good or bad, starts out small and seemingly insignificant. But over time, those habits become the foundation of your life. So ask yourself, what small shifts can I make today that will change my future? Can you wake up 30 minutes earlier to work on your goals? Can you replace 10 minutes of social media time with reading? Can you dedicate a small part of your income to savings and investments? These changes may seem minor now, but in 5 years, they will be the reason you either succeed or stay stuck. The difference between success and failure isn't one giant moment. It's the tiny choices you make every day. The small shift in attitude, the extra effort, the daily habit, these are what separate those who achieve greatness from those who don't. You don't have to wait for a life-changing opportunity. Your opportunity is right now in the small choices you make today. Success isn't about dramatic transformations. It's about consistent small steps in the right direction. Those steps, over time, lead to massive results. So start today. Make a small shift and watch how your future transforms. Number 4. The formula for overcoming procrastination and excuses. Procrastination is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't strike suddenly like a storm. It creeps in slowly, disguising itself as harmless delays and small excuses. At first, it's just, "I'll do it tomorrow." Then tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. And before you know it, years have passed, and you're still in the same place, wondering where all the time went. The truth is, success is never lost in a single moment of failure. It is lost in the thousands of tiny decisions to delay, to wait, to put things off until it's the right time. But here's the harsh reality. The right time never comes. If you don't break the cycle of procrastination, it will steal your future before you even realize it. No one knew this better than Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest minds in history. Da Vinci was a genius, an artist, scientist, and inventor whose work shaped the world. But what most people don't know is that he struggled with procrastination his entire life. He started painting the Mona Lisa in 1503, but didn't finish it until 16 years later. His notebooks were filled with half-finished ideas and abandoned projects. Many of his greatest inventions remained as sketches, never brought to life. If Da Vinci had mastered his procrastination earlier, who knows how many more incredible creations he could have gifted the world. But the difference between him and most people is that he kept going. Even though he procrastinated, he never gave up completely. He pushed through and finished some of his most extraordinary works. That is the key, recognizing procrastination and fighting back against it every single day. The problem with procrastination is that it tricks you into feeling comfortable. You tell yourself, I'll start when I have more time, or I'll do it when I feel ready. But that's just a lie. Your mind tells you to avoid discomfort. The only way to overcome procrastination is to take action before you feel ready. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the rain to stop before you start building a house. If you want to achieve something, you have to start even when conditions aren't perfect. So how do you break free from procrastination? First, you must recognize the root cause. Most people think procrastination is laziness, but it's actually fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. That's why we distract ourselves with entertainment, scrolling through social media, or making excuses instead of taking action. The way to beat procrastination is by making the first step so easy that your brain has no excuse to resist it. If you want to start exercising, don't plan an hour-long workout, just commit to 5 minutes. If you want to start writing a book, don't set a goal of 5,000 words, just write 1 sentence. The hardest part is starting. Once you begin, momentum takes over. Think about Theodore Roosevelt, one of the most disciplined leaders in history. He was known for his relentless energy and action-oriented mindset. But he wasn't born that way. As a child, he was weak and sickly, suffering from asthma so severe that doctors told him he wouldn't survive to adulthood. Instead of using his illness as an excuse, he forced himself to develop strength. He took up boxing, rigorous exercise, and disciplined habits. He didn't wait until he felt ready to become strong. He chose action over excuses. That same attitude carried him through life, pushing him to become one of the most influential presidents in history. The biggest enemy of success isn't failure. It's waiting. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you are making a choice. You are choosing to stay the same. You are choosing regret over growth. But imagine if you made a different choice. Imagine if, instead of putting things off, you took action immediately, even in small ways. How much further ahead would you be in a year, in 5 years? There's an old saying, a year from now, you will wish you had started today. That is the painful truth of procrastination. It robs you of opportunities, not all at once, but little by little. And the worst part, you won't even notice until it's too late. But the good news is, you can break the cycle today. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. This is the perfect moment. The only way to win against procrastination is to take the smallest possible step right now. Even if it's just writing down your goal, even if it's just sending that email, even if it's just doing 5 push-ups. Start now, not tomorrow, not later, right now. Leonardo da Vinci struggled with procrastination, but he still created masterpieces. Theodore Roosevelt could have made excuses, but he built a legacy. You are no different. The only thing standing between you and success is the decision to stop delaying and start acting. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about talent, intelligence, or luck. Success belongs to those who refuse to wait. Number 5, the price of success. Success comes at a price, and whether you realize it or not, you are always paying for something. You either pay the price of discipline and effort today, or you pay the price of regret and failure later. The difference is that discipline is temporary, but regret lasts a lifetime. Many people dream of achieving greatness, but when they see the effort it takes, they hesitate. They want the reward without the struggle, the victory without the battle, the success without the sacrifice. But here's the truth. You cannot cheat the process. You will either put in the work now or suffer the consequences of not doing so later. No one understood this better than Michael Jordan. When people think of Jordan, they see the greatest basketball player of all time, a 6-time NBA champion, a global icon. But what they don't always see is the years of sacrifice, discipline, and relentless work that made him great. In high school, he was cut from his varsity basketball team. Instead of giving up, he used that failure as fuel. He practiced harder than ever, showing up before everyone else and leaving after everyone was gone. Even after he became a champion, he never stopped paying the price. He trained obsessively, pushing himself beyond his limits, practicing thousands of shots a day, conditioning his body, and sharpening his mind. While others were resting, he was working. While others were making excuses, he was improving. That is the price of success, doing what most people aren't willing to do. Most people think of success as a single, defining moment. They see someone winning an award, landing a dream job, or building a business. What they don't see are the years of invisible work that led to that moment. Behind every success story is a hidden price. The hours of practice, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices no one applauds. Every successful person, at some point, had to make a decision. Pay the price now, or pay it later. The difference is, when you pay it now, you control the outcome. But if you refuse to pay it, life will charge you anyway, except in the form of missed opportunities, lost potential, and regret. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is, I'll start when it's easier. But there is no easier time. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. The price of success does not go away. It only increases. The longer you delay your goals, the more difficult it becomes to achieve them. Think about it. The best time to start working on your health was 10 years ago. The second best time, right now. The same applies to your finances, your skills, your relationships. The sooner you start paying the price, the sooner you reap the rewards. Consider J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before she became a billionaire, she was a struggling single mother battling depression and living in poverty. She wrote her book in cafes, pushing through rejection after rejection. 12 publishers turned her down. She could have quit. She could have said, "This is too hard." But she kept going because she understood something. Most people don't. Success is not about what you deserve. It's about what you're willing to endure. She paid the price through rejection, self-doubt, and relentless effort. And because she didn't give up, the world knows her name today. Most people quit too soon because they expect results immediately. They start working out, but give up after 2 weeks because they don't see a six-pack. They start a business but quit after a few months because the money isn't rolling in. They start a new habit but abandon it as soon as it gets difficult. But the price of success isn't paid in one big moment. It's paid in small, daily decisions. Every day, you are making a choice. Are you going to push through discomfort, or are you going to let it break you? Are you going to put in the work, or are you going to settle? Every choice compounds. The truth is, success is not unfair. It is not reserved for a special few. It is available to anyone who is willing to pay the price. The question is, are you willing? Are you willing to wake up earlier while others sleep? Are you willing to study while others watch TV? Are you willing to invest in yourself while others waste time? Success has never been about luck. It has always been about who is willing to do what others won't. Michael Jordan didn't become great because he was naturally gifted. He became great because he worked harder than anyone else. J.K. Rowling didn't become successful because she was lucky. She became successful because she refused to quit. And you have the same choice. The only question is, will you pay the price now, or will you wait until life forces you to pay the price in the form of regret? Because at the end of the day, you will always pay, but only one of these paths leads to success. Number 6, the law of deserve. How life rewards action. Life does not give you what you need, it gives you what you deserve. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, but once you do, it changes everything. Most people go through life believing that their struggles, hardships, or dreams alone should be enough for success. They tell themselves, I deserve a better life, or I deserve success. But deserving something is not about wanting it, it's about proving it. The world does not reward wishful thinking. It rewards effort, discipline, and value creation. No one embodied this principle more than Henry Ford. Before Ford revolutionized the automobile industry, he was just another unknown man with a dream. He didn't inherit wealth. He didn't have powerful connections. What he did have was a relentless work ethic and a mind that refused to accept limitations. Ford believed that automobiles should be affordable for everyone, not just the rich. But at the time, the idea was laughable. The technology didn't exist, and manufacturing costs were too high. Many told him it was impossible. But Ford understood something most people never do. If you want success, you must deserve it. Ford spent years perfecting his designs, working through failures, and refining his ideas. He didn't sit around complaining that life was unfair or that others had it easier. He took action. His breakthrough came when he developed the assembly line, a system that cut production time drastically and allowed him to mass-produce cars at a fraction of the original cost. His success didn't happen because he needed it. It happened because he worked for it, he earned it, he deserved it. The problem with most people is that they wait. They wait for luck, for the right circumstances, for someone to give them an opportunity. But success doesn't work that way. Imagine a farmer who walks out into an empty field and says, I really need a harvest this year. Then imagine he does nothing, no planting, no watering, no preparation. Would he expect a field full of crops? Of course not. The soil does not care about need. It only responds to planting, effort, and discipline. Life works the same way. If you do not plant, you do not reap. Think about it. If you needed to be wealthy in order to be wealthy, no one would ever escape poverty. If you needed to be talented to succeed, no one would ever rise above their starting point. But history is full of people who started with nothing, yet built extraordinary lives, because they focused not on what they lacked, but on what they could do. Life rewards action, not excuses. The world does not owe you anything. This may sound harsh, but it's actually liberating, because it means you are in control. If you don't like where you are in life, you can change it. Not by hoping or wishing, but by becoming the kind of person who deserves the success you want. If you want wealth, work on developing skills that create value. If you want respect, act with integrity and discipline. If you want health, adopt habits that lead to a strong body. Every goal you have is connected to a set of actions that will bring you closer to it. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Take Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time. When Ali declared that he was the greatest, people laughed. He was just a young fighter with big words. But he didn't just talk. He proved it. He trained harder than anyone. He sacrificed comfort, and he stepped into the ring time and time again, proving his greatness with action. He deserved success because he outworked, outtrained, and outperformed his competition. His famous words, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion," show exactly why he earned his success. He was willing to pay the price. The mistake people make is believing that life is unfair because they don't have what they want. But life is not unfair. It is exact. It rewards what you earn. If you are not where you want to be, ask yourself, what have I truly done to deserve more? Have I put in the effort? Have I sharpened my skills? Have I sacrificed comfort? Have I proven that I can handle success? If the answer is no, then the solution is simple. Start deserving it. It's easy to say you want success. It's easy to talk about your dreams. But when you look at your actions, are they aligned with the life you say you want? Henry Ford didn't wish for innovation. He worked tirelessly for it. Muhammad Ali didn't hope to be the greatest. He trained relentlessly for it. They earned their place in history, not by needing it, but by deserving it. And you can do the same. The day you stop waiting and start working, the day you stop needing and start deserving, is the day your life begins to change. Success does not respond to need. It responds to effort, discipline, and action. The question is, are you ready to earn it? Number 7, the 70/30ths money rule. Money is not just about numbers. It's about discipline, mindset, and long-term vision. The way you handle money today determines your financial future. Most people struggle financially, not because they don't earn enough, but because they don't manage what they have wisely. They fall into the common trap of spending first and saving whatever is left, if anything at all. But wealth doesn't come from how much you make. It comes from how much you keep and how well you use it. Financial independence is not reserved for the lucky. It is available to anyone who follows the right principles. And one of the most powerful financial principles is the 70/30ths rule. This rule states that you should never spend more than 70% of what you earn. The remaining 30% is divided into 3 categories: 10% for giving, 10% for investing, and 10% for savings. If you commit to this rule consistently, you will gradually build wealth, security, and the ability to live life on your own terms. One man who mastered this principle was John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller, the world's first billionaire, didn't come from wealth. He was born into a struggling family, but from a young age, he understood the power of financial discipline. When he earned his first paycheck, he followed a simple principle: give 10%, invest 10%, and save 10%. He carried this discipline throughout his life, and it became the foundation of his immense wealth. While others spent everything they earned, Rockefeller built his fortune brick by brick, using the power of wise money management. The first step to financial independence is controlling your spending. Most people increase their spending whenever they increase their income. This is why so many people, even those with high salaries, live paycheck to paycheck. They fall into the trap of lifestyle inflation, buying bigger houses, fancier cars, and unnecessary luxuries as soon as they start earning more. But real wealth comes from spending wisely and investing the difference. If you discipline yourself to live on 70% of your income, you create room for financial growth. The second step is giving. Many people underestimate the power of generosity, but some of the wealthiest and most successful individuals in history were also the most charitable. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and even modern billionaires like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates understood that giving back is a fundamental principle of wealth creation. When you give, you create a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. It trains your brain to believe that money flows freely, rather than being something to hoard in fear. Giving also builds character, humility, and a sense of responsibility, qualities that will take you further than money ever could. The third step is investing. This is where true financial freedom is built. Most people rely only on their paycheck, which means they trade time for money. But the rich understand that money should work for you, not the other way around. Investing in stocks, real estate, businesses, or other assets allows your money to grow even when you're not working. The earlier you start, the more powerful compound interest becomes. Rockefeller didn't just save money. He invested aggressively, using his earnings to create more wealth. If you start investing just 10% of your income today, in a few years, you will have built a strong financial foundation. The final step is saving and protecting your future. While investments help your money grow, savings act as a safety net. Life is unpredictable. Unexpected expenses, emergencies, or job losses can happen to anyone. Having a financial cushion prevents you from falling into debt or financial crisis. If you consistently save 10% of your income, you will always have resources to handle challenges without stress. The biggest mistake people make with money is believing that they'll start saving and investing when they make more. But if you can't manage $1,000, you won't manage $10,000. And if you can't manage $10,000, you won't manage $1 million. Financial habits are built with what you have right now. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how disciplined you are with what you earn. Imagine two people. One makes $50,000 a year and follows the 70-30th rule, while the other makes $100,000 a year but spends everything. In 10 years, the first person will have investments, savings, and financial security, while the second person will still be stuck dependent on their next paycheck. It's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with it. John D. Rockefeller became the richest man in history by following this principle. He didn't waste his earnings on luxuries. He built wealth step by step, investing, saving, and giving. The same opportunity exists for you. The difference between financial struggle and financial success is not luck, it's discipline. The best time to start managing your money wisely was years ago. The second best time is right now. If you apply the 70-30th rule, you will create a future where money is no longer a source of stress, but a tool for freedom. The question is, are you willing to make the change today? Number 8, the secret to becoming irreplaceable. The difference between those who remain average and those who rise to extraordinary success comes down to one principle. Always do more than expected. In every job, in every business, in every relationship, the people who stand out, who get promoted, who earn wealth, and who build legacies are the ones who consistently go beyond what is required. They don't just meet expectations, they exceed them. They don't just do their job, they find ways to add value. They don't wait to be told what to do. They take initiative. And because of that, they become irreplaceable. Few people understood this better than Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in history. Carnegie wasn't born into wealth. He started as a low-paid messenger boy in a telegraph office. His job was simple: deliver messages. Most employees in his position would have done the bare minimum, simply taking messages from one place to another. But Carnegie wasn't like most people. He went beyond his job description. He took the time to learn how telegraph machines worked, memorized business conversations, and studied the habits of successful men. He worked longer hours than anyone else, not because he was told to, but because he knew that if he gave more, he would eventually get more. His dedication didn't go unnoticed. He was promoted, given bigger opportunities, and eventually became a steel magnate who changed the course of industry forever. The mistake most people make is thinking, if I get paid more, I'll work harder. But that's not how success works. You don't get promoted first and then prove your worth. You prove your worth first, and then you get promoted. You don't wait to be recognized before putting in extra effort. You put in extra effort first, and then the recognition comes. If you only do what is required, you will always remain at the same level. But when you go beyond expectations, people take notice. Opportunities open up, promotions come faster, businesses grow, doors that were once closed suddenly swing open. Imagine you are an employer. You have 2 employees. One does exactly what you ask and nothing more. The other constantly finds ways to improve processes, offers ideas, and takes initiative. Who do you think will get promoted? Who do you think will be trusted with bigger responsibilities? It's obvious, the one who does more. This principle doesn't just apply to business. It applies to everything. If you want stronger relationships, don't just meet expectations. Surprise people with kindness, effort, and support. If you want to be a great athlete, don't just train when required. Put in the extra hours that no one else is willing to do. If you want financial success, don't just save money. Find ways to increase your value, learn new skills, and take on challenges that others avoid. The world doesn't reward people for doing what is expected. It rewards those who go above and beyond. One of the greatest examples of this is Walt Disney. Before he built a billion-dollar empire, Disney was just another struggling animator, rejected multiple times by investors and studios. But what set him apart was his relentless commitment to doing more than what people thought was possible. When he created Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, critics laughed at him, calling it Disney's folly, claiming that a full-length animated film would never succeed. But Disney refused to take shortcuts. He poured everything into the project, creating detailed animation techniques, lifelike expressions, and a level of storytelling no one had ever seen before. The result? Snow White became one of the most successful films of all time, launching the Disney empire. Disney didn't just do his job, he redefined his industry. The sad truth is, most people do the bare minimum. They do just enough to get by. They show up, complete their tasks, and go home. But the few who put in extra effort, extra thought, and extra care rise above the rest. They become leaders, pioneers, and icons. Here's the secret. The more value you create, the more valuable you become. If you want to be irreplaceable, make yourself invaluable. Become the person people turn to for answers. Be the one who solves problems instead of just pointing them out. Be the one who brings energy, enthusiasm, and solutions to every situation. Make yourself impossible to ignore. Andrew Carnegie went from a messenger boy to a billionaire because he gave more than was required. Walt Disney built an empire because he refused to do anything less than extraordinary. What about you? In your job, your business, your relationships, are you doing just enough? Or are you going above and beyond? Are you making excuses? Or are you making yourself irreplaceable? The world doesn't owe you success, but if you consistently do more than expected, success will eventually find you. The question is, are you willing to do what most people won't? If you are, then greatness isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Number 9, the power of goals. Success is not just about achieving goals. It's about who you become in the process. The biggest mistake people make when setting goals is thinking that the end result is all that matters. They believe that reaching a financial milestone, getting fit, or building a successful business is the true reward. But the real value of goals isn't the destination. It's the transformation you go through to achieve them. The discipline, resilience, knowledge, and habits you develop along the way are far more valuable than the goal itself. No one understood this better than Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, one of the most influential personal development books ever written. Hill spent over 20 years studying the world's most successful people, from Andrew Carnegie to Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. What he discovered was that the people who reached the highest levels of success weren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They were the ones who had a clear, burning goal and refused to give up until they achieved it. But the real secret wasn't just that they had goals. It was that their goals forced them to become better versions of themselves. When Hill was young, he was given a challenge by Andrew Carnegie. Spend the next 20 years studying the principles of success and write a book that would teach others how to achieve greatness. Carnegie didn't offer him a salary, just an opportunity. Hill could have refused, but he accepted the challenge, not knowing that it would shape his entire life. Through the process of writing Think and Grow Rich, Hill became an expert in success principles, discipline, and perseverance. He didn't just achieve his goal of writing a book, he became a completely different person in the process. That's the power of goals. Most people never set big goals because they are afraid of failing, afraid of how much work it will take, afraid that they are not capable. But what they don't realize is that goals are designed to stretch you beyond your limits. If your goal doesn't challenge you, it isn't big enough. The purpose of setting goals is not just to reach them, but to grow into the kind of person who can achieve them. Think about it this way. If you set a goal to become a millionaire, the real reward is not the $1 million. It's the mindset, skills, and discipline you develop along the way. You will have to learn financial management, develop resilience, master decision-making, and push through challenges. By the time you reach that $1 million, you will have transformed into someone capable of creating wealth. And here's the best part. Even if you lose all the money, you'll be able to make it again, because you became the kind of person who knows how. One of the greatest examples of this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Before he became a Hollywood star or the governor of California, he was a young man with a dream of becoming the world's greatest bodybuilder. At the time, he was just a skinny teenager in Austria. But he had a crystal clear vision of his future. He didn't just say, "I want to be strong." He set a goal to become Mr. Olympia, the highest title in bodybuilding. That goal forced him to train harder than anyone else, develop insane discipline, and push his body beyond its limits. The process of reaching his goal shaped him into a champion. But here's the real magic. Once he conquered bodybuilding, he used the same goal-setting principles to dominate Hollywood and politics. Schwarzenegger's success wasn't about genetics or luck. It was about setting clear goals and becoming the person who could achieve them. Most people drift through life without clear goals. They hope for success, but they never define what it looks like. If you don't set goals, you'll spend your life helping someone else achieve theirs. A goal gives you direction, purpose, and motivation. It wakes you up early and keeps you going when things get tough. Without a goal, you become a ship without a destination, floating wherever the wind takes you. So how do you set powerful goals? First, your goals must be specific. Saying "I want to be successful" is too vague. Define exactly what success means to you. Second, your goals must be challenging. If a goal is too easy, it won't inspire you to grow. The best goals feel just out of reach, forcing you to level up. Third, your goals must be written down and reviewed regularly. Studies show that people who write down their goals are far more likely to achieve them. When you write down your goals, you make a commitment to yourself, and that commitment keeps you focused. The truth is, you don't need motivation to succeed. You need a clear goal. Motivation comes and goes, but a goal keeps you moving forward, even on the days when you feel like quitting. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't wake up feeling motivated every day, but his goal pushed him to train anyway. Napoleon Hill didn't spend 20 years researching success because he felt like it. His goal gave him a mission. The world doesn't reward people who simply dream. It rewards those who commit to a goal and take relentless action. The greatest people in history weren't just talented or lucky. They set big goals and became extraordinary through the process of achieving them. So ask yourself, what is my goal? Not just a vague dream, but a clear, measurable goal that challenges you to grow. What will force you to become better, stronger, and more capable? Write it down. Commit to it. Review it daily. Because in the end, it's not about the goal itself. It's about who you become on the journey to achieving it. And if you choose the right goal, you will become unstoppable. Number 10, rewiring your brain for success. Your brain is the most powerful tool you have, but it can either work for you or against you. Success is not just about hard work, intelligence, or talent. It's about how your mind is wired. The way you think determines the way you act, and the way you act determines the results you get. The problem is, most people go through life without realizing that their mind has been programmed with limiting beliefs that keep them stuck in mediocrity. But just like a computer, your brain can be reprogrammed. And once you take control of that process, success becomes inevitable. One of the best examples of mental rewiring is Jim Carrey. Long before he became one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, Carrey was a struggling comedian, broke and barely surviving. But instead of accepting his reality, he programmed his mind for success. Every night he would drive up to Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles, sit in his car, and visualize himself being a successful actor. He didn't just hope for success, he felt it, believed it, and acted as if it was already happening. He even went so far as to write himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dating it 5 years in the future. At the time, he had no idea how he would achieve that, but he carried the check in his wallet as a constant reminder. Fast forward a few years, and Carrey was cast in Dumb and Dumber, which earned him exactly $10 million. Was it luck? No. It was a combination of belief, action, and persistence. He had trained his mind to see himself as successful before it happened, and because of that, he worked harder, pushed through failures, and took risks most people wouldn't. His brain was wired for success. What you believe about yourself controls your destiny. If you believe you're not smart enough, not talented enough, or not capable, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself. Your brain is designed to prove your beliefs right. If you believe success is impossible for you, your mind will filter out opportunities, dismiss chances for growth, and keep you trapped in your comfort zone. But if you believe success is inevitable, your brain will start looking for ways to make it happen. It will push you to take action, seize opportunities, and overcome obstacles. This is the reticular activating system at work, a small part of your brain that acts as a filter, determining what information gets your attention. If you've ever decided to buy a certain type of car and then suddenly started seeing that car everywhere, that's your reticular activating system in action. The same principle applies to success. When you tell your brain what to focus on, it will start finding opportunities you never noticed before. But most people unknowingly program their reticular activating system with negative beliefs, constantly telling themselves, "I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be successful." And as a result, their brain finds proof of that everywhere. So how do you rewire your brain for success? It starts with intentional programming, feeding your mind with thoughts, habits, and beliefs that align with the future you want. The most powerful ways to do this are affirmations, visualization, and environment control. Affirmations are daily statements that reinforce positive beliefs. When Jim Carrey told himself he was already a successful actor, he wasn't lying to himself. He was programming his brain. Repeating statements like, "I am capable of success, opportunities are everywhere, and I am becoming wealthier every day," may sound simple, but over time they rewire your subconscious mind to expect success. Visualization works the same way. Elite athletes, business leaders, and high achievers all use visualization because they know the brain doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination. When you mentally rehearse success, your brain starts acting as if it's already happening. Arnold Schwarzenegger visualized himself winning bodybuilding competitions before he ever stepped on stage. Oprah Winfrey visualized herself as a talk show host before the world knew her name. Your brain follows the pictures you create in your mind. Your environment also plays a crucial role. If you surround yourself with negative people, distractions, and excuses, your brain will absorb that negativity. But if you immerse yourself in books, mentors, and successful people, your brain will adapt to that environment. You become what you repeatedly expose yourself to. The problem is, most people never take control of their mental programming. They live by default, allowing society, their past, and their fears to dictate their beliefs. But the truth is, you are in control. You can rewrite the script. You can change the narrative. You can choose to believe in yourself, even before the results show up. And when you do that, success is no longer a question of if, it's just a matter of when. Jim Carrey didn't wait for Hollywood to tell him he was successful. He decided it in his mind first. The world's greatest achievers didn't wait for proof before believing in themselves. They created that belief first, and the success followed. You have the same power. The question is, are you using it? Or are you letting old limiting beliefs hold you back? Right now you have a choice. You can keep thinking the way you always have and get the same results. Or you can start rewiring your brain for success, training it to see possibilities, not limitations. Start speaking success into existence. Start visualizing the future you want. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. Because the truth is, success doesn't start in the outside world, it starts in your mind. And once your mind believes it, your life will follow. Success is not a mystery. It is not reserved for the lucky, the gifted, or the privileged. It is a formula, one that has been followed by some of the greatest people in history. And now you have that formula. Every chapter in this journey has shown you that success is not about where you start, but about how you think, how you act, and what you are willing to do to change your future. We started by learning the power of change, understanding that no matter what has happened in your past, you are not stuck. You are not a tree. You can move, grow, and become something greater. Then we explored the 5-year rule, realizing that in 5 years we will all arrive somewhere. The question is, will it be by design or by default? We learned that small shifts create big success, and that success is built not in a single moment, but through consistent effort over time. We uncovered the formula for overcoming procrastination, understanding that the only way to defeat delay is through immediate action. We discovered the price of success, knowing that success demands effort, discipline, and sacrifice. We examined the law of deserve, realizing that life does not give us what we need. It gives us what we earn. We learned the 70-30 money rule, which when followed consistently, leads to financial independence. We saw how doing more than expected makes you irreplaceable, and that those who go beyond what is required are the ones who rise to the top. We studied the power of goals, understanding that the true reward isn't just the achievement, but the transformation that happens along the way. And finally, we discovered how to rewire our minds for success, knowing that the way we think shapes our future. So now the choice is yours. You can take this knowledge and let it sit in your mind like another inspiring lesson, or you can act on it. You can start today, right now, by making one small shift in the way you think, act, or plan. Remember, success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move. You have everything you need. The only question is, are you ready to use it? Because the future is yours to design. Now go and create it.